Okay, hello everyone. So I I hope you are fine after giving both the papers. Okay, little difficult this time. Okay, so we are here for your first reaction with respect to CSAT, and the first reaction is that it was a bit tricky this time. Okay, so the thing is that if you see the entire paper now, if you just see the distribution of it, so it was something like this. So basically there were around 37 to 38 questions that were from cons directly. Okay, 1 2 questions more. Usually there are 35 36 questions. Again, similar here. Now, if you look at RCs, the number of RCs questions have actually decreased. So it used to be around 27 questions for many years. In 2025 they gave 30 questions, but this time they reduced it. Now reasoning, but before reasoning they gave questions on something known as communication skills or interpersonal skills. This was something that is completely new in UPSC CSAT. They have never given questions like these. So there were around 7 questions from here, and you can expect around 12 questions from reasoning. So this was the overall bifurcation if you look at it. Okay, so cons has increased a bit, RC is actually decreased, and you have these communication skill questions which is completely new to us. Okay, this is the overall bifurcation, first thing. Now the thing is that this paper was all about testing you, that how present are you in the exam. Okay, so that's why they gave questions which are completely new in the way. For example, if you come here and you see, there were questions on communication skills. Okay, yeah, yeah, so these are the questions that troubled everybody. Okay, these are completely new in this way. So there is statements like this based on communication skills. Now it is asking you about different kinds of conversations, how, because you have to tell anything to anybody. Now there is a way, formal way, informal way, all these different ways how you will communicate. All these questions have been asked. This was asked in state PCS before, but first time in UPSC. Now now my whole point is like semantic, cognitive, all this affective, this all you study a bit in ethics. So if you could solve them, then it's fine. Otherwise, if you just leave all these questions, if you just leave all these questions, there were still enough questions that you could solve. Okay, and this paper was all about managing your stress levels. Because see, if you just ignore all of them, now you see questions like these. Okay, shopkeeper, delivery boy gets, for every delivery the boy gets rupees 5, and at the end of the day, whatever kilometers he traveled, he gets 2 kilometers. Basic calculation, actually there is no calculation also. Okay, and you can do this. Similarly, this is a simple formula based question, correct? So all these questions were scattered here and there, correct? So then here you had communication skill. Then if you go beyond it, then you will find certain questions again like these, correct? We have seen similar questions before also in reasoning, correct? 0 is encoded as sure it was, now it is ADSN. Very clearly this is +1 -1 +1 -1, very easily you can solve this. Similarly this also, digit interchange. Similarly this ratios. Okay, so there were enough questions that you could solve. That is the thing. Now if you look here, the passages were decent in nature, neither too tough, neither too easy. In some, you could directly apply elimination and that made them easy. Otherwise, the passages were much fine than what you usually saw. But the main issue that I think students will face, that it was very lengthy. Even though like questions like these, okay, these are doable. This is very doable. This is asking you what is the remainder when divided by 11. Now you know the divisibility rule of 11, plus 1 minus 1 plus 1 minus 1. So you can do this, but it tends to take a little more time. Okay. Similarly, these questions. So the thing is, why I am calling this paper difficult? 7-8 questions from communication skill, that most people, for them it is not there. But if you see, anyway in CSAT you hardly attempted 50-55 questions. So all that UPSC was testing, that do you panic or you maintain your calm. And if you maintained your calm, there were questions that you could do. Now, one other aspect is there, that this was very lengthy. So if you look at the maths question, if you try to solve them, it takes a lot of time. Correct. Similarly, in comprehension also, they have given so many statements. So you have to analyze each of them. So it became very difficult. That's why how you have attempted the paper becomes very important. Okay. Now, if you were able to do good in CSAT, if you are clearing CSAT fine, then almost with certainty I can say that with a little lesser score also, with much lesser score also, you will be writing mains, because the GS cutoff will go down because of this paper. Okay, so this is the whole thing. If you have prepared everything well, then you can manage this paper, if provided you didn't panic. This was the main learning from this. Now the level of some questions that they have asked here is much better than what we had seen earlier. So just like 2023 was a moment where CSAT became a very different thing, 24-25 was much milder than 2023. Now 26 is again, I will say, a very monumental paper in that way. Okay, later on, see, right now the reaction will be very different than what the reaction would be after an year. So after some time you will realize that there are enough questions to do. But right now in exam hall, I understand that this can trouble some people, but hopefully you have managed everything fine, and GS scores will be much lower, so you can be much more safer in GS. Even if you are scoring 1-2 question here, there are some lesser marks also, it won't matter, because CSAT will be the decider. So my message as always is to please take CSAT with a lot of seriousness. Apart, like if you take all the hoo-ha that goes around CSAT, and it was even talked about in parliament and everything went on, but still you can see the level of paper and they have not budged. Okay, so you must also treat it as a proper subject and start from the get-go. From the foundation course itself, you should get started with CSAT and give it proper time and respect. Okay, hopefully you have done well, and you would be clearing both the papers. That's it. Thank you.